Why not just make the level not be goddamn annoyingly stupid? Because when I put yellow paint on the ledges, you complain about it! I don't know, man. What would convince somebody that, you know, sight lines and lighting is important? This thanks to DSP for why there's yellow paint everywhere. I don't know if I agree with that. I think the reason why yellow paint is everywhere is because there is an art concept called saturation difference. So for example, in Borderlands, things are pretty, like, gray. When things aren't very saturated, and then you put another color, you can differentiate between those two things based on how saturated something is. So, for example, like, the ground here is not very saturated. Everything on the menu here is very saturated. The ground here is kind of, like, dull, and then everything on the actual menu and the icons and the health bars are all very bright in order to make you focus on the things that are important. Basically, any very stark difference between any value of color can be used to signify importance. Right, so if you look at Heismei's character design, there's like the black vest, and then you can see his lapel is very bright blue, and then his eyes are very red. So the point is, using the same principle, you can guide vision. Finding some diegetic way to outline things using color, I think, is important. There was like, when explosive barrels weren't red, nobody shot them. Like, this is the kind of shit that happens when you don't mark things. If we use and interpret reality using markings, right, like, why aren't we using that in other places? And it's a balance. I don't care that the frostbite icon is bright blue and that I have a particle effect that's swirling around me. It's like, yeah, thank you for telling me what the game state is. Elden Ring is a game that does not tell you where to go until you realize bonfires are pointing in a direction. This is my problem, is that, like, you're literally just wrong. Elden Ring has vistas, landmarks, it has sight lines, it has lighting. You don't understand to what degree you are being led around by these techniques. And that's my problem, is that just because, like, a signifier is more explicit than another signifier doesn't mean you are being assisted. And it's like, it's not that big of a deal, right? Like, I'm gonna make the cave have a brightness difference. So, like, around the cave, there will be less light, and then there will be light in the cave itself, right? Like, you can make semantic arguments for why, like, a particular thing is or isn't in a universe, but the reality is, it's like, here's an art piece. We've made some considerations for your ability to interface with the art piece, things like sightlines and lighting and saturation differences, right? Just because you understand that it's there shouldn't ruin it. You're, like, ruining it for yourself. And mind you, like, I think having better signifiers than yellow paint is probably good overall. It's just, people are really annoying about it. It depends what the gameplay is, right? So if the gameplay is to, like, decipher affordances of objects, and that's the core gameplay, it's fine. You could say that Outer Wilds is a lot of that. A lot of Outer Wilds is like, I don't know how the switch works yet. I will figure it out when the game tells me, and then I can use that information. Or I could figure it out naturally. Like, I'm not going into Tomb Raider to figure out whether bookcases are climbable. My problem with the idea that yellow paint looks dumb is that, to me, it just feels like a social construct, where someone was like, yellow paint is dumb. And then people were like, oh, yellow paint is signaling me where to go, and now that you've pointed it out, it's really annoying. Like, that's what it feels like to me. You could take any subjective stance on whether you believe that the players should have signals. But I think even in the case where you don't signal as much to the player, your signals need to be kind of good.
Let's stay calm.
I haven't played Morrowind, but I would assume that the people that you can talk to, if you pay attention to them, give you, like, very good information. And because they give you very good information, you can use that to make informed decisions about game state. So it's like, is it signaling because an NPC gave you the information? Like, does it fucking matter? The answer is that it's not like any of these are explicitly right or wrong. Like, Dark Souls 3 doesn't have a map because you don't need one. Elden Ring gives you a map because you need one. So it depends what information your players actually need. One could make the argument, actually using the same frame of reference, that Borderlands players do not need yellow paint in order to know that ledges are climbable, they're just going to try climbing on everything anyways. We don't need you telling us that there's a way to climb something. And then you can do stuff like, oh, we're going to knock over some barrels that go to a saturation difference over in the corner because the lighting is different. There might be something over there. So instead of giving you yellow paint, it just gives you a ledge. You could argue that that's good enough, but like, I think it really depends. You literally cannot imagine how bad it is. When level design fails and people just don't know where to go, it's so bad, dude. You have no idea. So the risk-averse thing is to just like put signifiers and not worry about it. But if I playtested the first time and there was an issue with people finding the door because you can't look straight on the horizon to where the 2 torches are, dumbass, then yeah, I'm just gonna put some splotches or bloodstains or something on the way there. Like, I have seen people wander in a circle in the smallest area that I could imagine. And it's like, oh, I didn't know I could go up there because there wasn't any light. Yeah, exactly, and Poi has it right. It's like, if you wanted it to be concealed, then you don't put a signifier on purpose. It's about intent. Why not just make the level not be goddamn annoyingly stupid? Because when I put yellow paint on the ledges, you complain about it! When you put the signifier to make it easier to read the goddamn geometry, you're like, stop insulting my intelligence! What the do you want from them, dude? Holy shit. That's actually the craziest thing you've said. So it's a balance. I think some amount of signifiers is good. And I think not putting yellow paint on everything is also good. Let's, let's be a little bit more creative than that. Let's not use it literally everywhere. But like, you have not watched a 2-hour playtest. Actual dumbasses incapable of reading basic geometry. We love playtesters, by the way. They have it hard. Because I love watching playtests. I actually love them because I see these things. So it's like when I watch a playtest and I see that, oh, they did not know to go up here, seemingly because it is not well illuminated. That seems to be the problem. I fixed the illumination issue. Like, once I fix that, they do kind of know to go there. And I'm like, it was an illumination issue. I didn't consider that. And then, you're off to the races. Look at the lighting on that wall. Do you see the lighting in front of the hallway? Do you see the lighting on the side of the wall?